Hello, and welcome to Don't Tail This, a sports betting podcast hosted by two people who are terrible at sports gambling. My name is Mannarino, and I am not a professional gambler. I just love sports, and I like to lose money from time to time. With me is my buddy and fellow degenerate, Ben Murchison. Ben, what's going on?
You like losing? I don't intentionally lose. It just keeps happening to me. It's sad.
It happens a lot, though.
It does happen a lot, which is why we're here. We're here. We're doing a podcast now. The podcast nobody asked for based off the social media accounts nobody followed last year. We're going for it. So, maybe you're one of the tens of people that followed our social media launch last year. Maybe you're lost and you meant to be listening to a sports betting pod where they actually know what the hell they're talking about. No matter how you got here, though, me and Al are glad to have you here. Welcome. Wanted to just kind of talk about what this podcast is going to be and how we really differentiate ourselves from the other sports betting podcasts that they're out there listening to, all the other content. We both follow a lot of sports betting accounts, right, Al? We do. We listen to a lot of sports betting podcasts. Everybody on those is always like talking themselves up. They think that they've got some sort of edge and they're trying to hype up why people should be tailing their bets. We're obviously not going to do that. That part's completely implied in the name of the podcast. What sets us apart, we think, is accountability.
That's right.
We're not trying to lose money. As I made clear, I don't enjoy losing. I'd like to win from time to time. We're absolutely trying to craft together a 4-leg parlay that's going to hit. But just odds are, based off of our trial and error experience, it's not going to happen. And it's going to be one of our faults, ultimately. Al or myself, probably both of us at the same time. What we're going to do on this podcast is actually go back and revisit in detail all of our parlays, all the plays, what went wrong, whose fault it was, assign blame, just chastise them relentlessly. And that's really what we're going with here.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to introduce the pod. Maybe not for the next couple episodes, but for when we get into the actual season, we'll probably start creating segments and things within the season. Something that we've talked about already is a never again list, which is players that we were really had high hopes for. It could be like Travis Kelce last year, who had a very off year in terms of his receiving yards and touchdowns. So those players may find themselves on the never again list, which means we are not under any circumstances going to trust them in any of these legs going forward with any of these parlays.
Yeah, until we do, obviously.
Of course, until we're like, you know what, it's actually a lock, and we need to.
Until we pull them off the list because they've just been crushing it, and then they destroy us again.
Yeah, and some housekeeping stuff. We're gonna have new episodes drop 2 days a week during the season. So we're gonna have new episodes on Wednesdays and Saturdays. On Wednesdays, we're gonna talk through the previous week's bets, assign the proper blame as previously described, and just generally wallow in self-pity, unless by some off chance we actually hit a bet, and then it's a full-on party. We're going to have fireworks and celebration, even though it's an audio podcast.
Vibes are high. I'm not sure about the fireworks.
The vibes will be high. And then we're going to get down to business and make our picks for Thursday Night Football and Friday and Saturday, if those games exist, which, NFL every year, they're going to start creating new days during the week so they can play football. And then on Saturdays, we're going to recount Thursday Night Football and then make our picks for each slate of games on Sunday and Monday night. One more bit of housekeeping. As Ben already mentioned, we do have some social media presence. We have a Instagram and Twitter account. It's Don't Tail This on both Instagram and Twitter. That's where we're going to track, each bet that we're going to make, as well as the win-loss record, and then our betting balance. We'll talk more in detail as the season goes. But Ben and I, we have families, we have jobs. We don't have a ton of money. We're trying to make a ton of money during the season, but that's up in the air. And as the podcast describes, we probably shouldn't be tailing us anyway. We are going to be setting our unit, our 1 unit bet as $10. We're going to be super transparent. Our parlays will be $20 4-pick parlays. These picks that we're going to be making today, as well as the next 2 episodes, we're looking at futures for the season. These will all be $10 bets. from each of us. So it'd be, I guess, $20
Yeah,
bets
20 total doesn't
total.
account, 10
20
each.
totals, yes, 10
You
each
know, when we
for
do
these
hit those
futures.
big bets, we don't want to worry about tax implications. You know, we want to make sure
Exactly.
we cover ourselves on those.
Exactly.
Yeah, so like I was talking about this episode, since we're still in the preseason, we're not going to get to our normal structure just yet, but we're going to talk through future bets. And our first round of future bets is we want to discuss some teams that we feel will exceed or fall short of their win total projections. Yeah, the good thing about NFL futures is nobody's going to know we're full of shit until at least a couple weeks into the season. So we can go through and count them right now. You know, talk through our 4 picks, our 4 locks, as you would never ever again refer to them as after you listen to us and kind of and see how badly this goes. But Al, we got 2 overs and we got 2 unders. Why don't you
Yeah.
kick us off and talk about one of the overs that's near and dear to your heart?
Yeah, so we're talking win totals for the season, right? For this week, and we have 4 picks, 2 overs, 2 unders. I don't know why both of us were on this over, which is it's kind of insane thinking about it, but and we'll talk about it more throughout the season. But I live in New Jersey. I'm from New York and Jersey in that area. I'm a diehard New York Giants fan. It's been rough for the last decade plus to be a Giants fan, but things are kind of looking up. We finally got rid of Daniel Jones. That's kind of the main factor in this bet is, I think we ended up with what, like 5 wins last year, something like that.
A little
You can double
addition by
check.
subtraction with Daniel Jones.
And that was with Daniel Jones and Tommy DeVito and like just a terrible offense. This year we've made a lot of changes. We actually have a QB room. We're not we're not stuck with just Tommy DeVito. He's actually our 4th string quarterback now. We have Russell Wilson coming in as our new starter. We have Jackson Dart, who we drafted in the first round, another Ole Miss quarterback who we are thinking is going to be the future of the franchise. And we have Jameis Winston, who is the ultimate vibes guy. And I think having just like a complete change of spirit, like not to get like sappy, but like it really feels different this year in the sense. And listen, we can go 0 and 18, which is
Feels
possible.
different until week 1.
Which is
Like,
possible.
shit.
Which is possible. But I remember the first game last season against the Cowboys, and it was like the first drive, and I was like, "Oh, the season's over." Like it was that bad. I honestly think even if we are very mediocre this year, we're trending in the right direction. And we made some other moves as well. Javon Holland, who we picked up on D, I think he was one of the better free agent pickups I think from any team. And then drafting like Darth Vader, drafting Abdul Carter, super high in the draft, and he looks like a force to be reckoned with. I'm really excited about him. And then kind of lastly before I get into your reasoning if I missed anything, Malik Neighbors had what I think 10 touchdowns from literal trash cans throwing to him. So now you get someone like Russell Wilson who throws bombs. You got Jameis Winston, Jackson Dart. His name is Dart. He's throwing darts.
Had to be a quarterback. You can't name him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Any of those 3. And even and Tommy DeVito in a pinch, I guess, is going to be a better alternative than having Daniel Jones out there, who could not, and we saw it last season, could not throw the long ball at all. So I'm very excited. We didn't mention what it is. Over 5.5 wins. I will say, as a caveat, the Giants statistically have the toughest schedule.
Literally number 1
in all of the NFL. So that is the problem. That is the one big problem. So it's going to be a lot of tight win games, if anything. Can they win 6 games this year with the new talent involved? I think so.
I agree. And that's why, normally I would call this Giants homerism by you and not buy into it at all. But I actually had the exact same pick before we started, talking and discussing about what our, pick should be. To be fair, my caveat, the line is 5.5, and I went through their entire schedule and I found exactly 6 wins for them. So we're operating in a very tight tight win-loss window here for this to work. But I mean, at plus 110, I think the odds are good, for this particular one. And I think all the points that you made are valid. Like the quarterback play alone should elevate the team, hopefully to that 6-win mark. And I mean, they're going to win a lot of games based off the strength of that pass rush and that D line just, dominating the line of scrimmage. I think that that's going to keep them in some tight games, and then they'll just find a way to win with the elevated quarterback play. Enough, not necessarily. We're not talking playoff team for the Giants yet. We're not getting crazy here. I still, would have them finishing last in the NFC East. But yeah, all we need is over 5.5. We're just looking for 6.
Wow, last? You have the Cowboys above them.
I have the Cowboys winning 8 games, so just slightly above. Also, not a playoff team in my book.
Is that with Dak starting / Parsons playing?
Signing? Yeah.
Signing.
That is with both of those things happening. Yes, okay. Dak Prescott starting a quarterback, reconnecting with CD Lamb, giving a little positivity in that case, and yeah, I'm operating under the impression on everything that I'm doing that the guys that are unsigned or remaining unsigned as of right now will eventually sign with their teams, a la Terry McLaurin, who would be my homer pick for the Washington Commanders if we were going to discuss them. We threw them around as an option, but not ultimately who we went with for their other over.
Well, let's talk about our second over. Who's our second over?
So our second over is none other than the Cincinnati Bengals, led by Joe Burrow. I think this one.
This is a toss-up. This is kind of a toss-up.
That's why this podcast is what it is, because
right.
Both of these I could see going the other direction.
Yeah.
But the factors that really led into this for me and taking the Bengals as one of the overs is I do think that the Bengals are a playoff team this year. Obviously led by the strength of their offense, outscoring enough of their opponents to get them to 10 wins. The line's 9.5. How many wins did they finish with last year, you may ask? They finished with 9 wins.
They were 9-8.
Just one game under that. But they finished strong.
Like 0-4, though, or something crazy?
They had a very slow start, a very strong finish. What really made me feel more confident is watching the Netflix documentary.
Quarterback, season 2.
Exactly. You just see how cool Joe Burrow is and just how good he is at this job. But the problem with last season and the reason that they didn't far exceed that and ultimately missed the playoffs is because they lost a ton of tight games. Both losses to the Ravens. They were dropping games by field goals, losing opponents they shouldn't. Just misfortune. Much in the way that, as a Commanders fan, I watched the Commanders win so many tight games on the last drive. It went the opposite direction for the Bengals, which makes total sense why we're picking the Bengals instead of the Commanders. But either way, I think that they're good enough to make the playoffs and en route to getting 10 wins on the season and exceeding that, even though they did absolutely nothing to strengthen up the defense, which is obviously the fault of this team.
It's the biggest problem going forward, right? Is this is a playoff team. It's a playoff offense. This is a MVP.
It's a Super Bowl offense.
It's a Super Bowl offense. It's an MVP level quarterback. It is a offensive player of the year wide receiver. And I wouldn't say comeback player, but I would say T. Higgins is probably a top 3 wide receiver 2.
He's better than a lot of wide receiver 1s on other teams.
Exactly. So you got 2 of the best weapons in the NFL along with Joe Shiesty. On
Brown,
paper,
great running back.
They have a solid tight end, a local boy, Mike Gesicki, who's great. Who they re-signed as well. Big fan. Ben knows that because he'll appear in a lot of parlays, especially if T. Higgins is hurt. I will tell you right now.
What about Mike Gesicki? What do you think about throwing him in?
What do we think about Gesicki? So I don't have a lot of confidence, which is the whole concept of this podcast. I don't have a lot of confidence that they're going to be able to be dominant this year because the defense is such a question mark. They really didn't do a ton to improve it. It was a lot of not even depth, but just they lost some people. I don't think they've at this point have re-signed Trey Hendrickson, which I'm pretty sure is the way you say that name. We did not double check, but I'm with you in the sense that we're leaning on their offensive power to over deliver. and hope the defense could just hang on by a thread just to beat some of these close
Just
games.
enough. And
Just enough.
trust that Joe Burrow can make some game-winning plays at the end of games.
Yeah.
It is aided, like it's another tough division. I mean, the Ravens are tough. The Steelers are gonna finish 9-8. You know that. So
Minimum.
minimum. Well, that's all they can do. Just
That's
right
right.
above 500. But I think they do have the easiest strength of schedule out of their division. They're at 14. So they're right kind of in the middle of it. I think, I don't know. We have blind faith, essentially, which is most of our picks.
That's
But
right.
we're relying on Joe to carry that team forward. And so we're getting minus 125 on them getting the over.
Yeah. And Joe Burrow might appear in some later future picks. So stay tuned for the next couple episodes going forward. All right. Do you want to get into some unders?
Yeah, we got a couple teams. One that I know I threw out, and you're gonna be like, that makes sense. I like that.
Yeah,
And maybe that's because you have a little history with the guy that could be taking some snaps for him.
for
But
sure.
yeah. So our first under, it's the Indianapolis Colts. The line is 7.5. I just don't see them getting there. No matter really who's behind, center, but Anthony Richardson, I think that's who you want if you're a Colts fan. I think Al can speak to that even more. But yeah, I looked through their schedule. Despite having one of the easier strength of schedule, they're at 25. I don't see more than 7 wins on there for them. I've got them at 6-11 as I went through and kind of took a look at who they're playing. But yeah, I don't have faith with Anthony Richardson staying healthy. And obviously, if Daniel Jones gets in there, I don't think that at this point he's a starting NFL quarterback. They've got, Jonathan Taylor is a great running back that can, if they're in close games, help them get over that hump. But I don't think that they're a team right now that, can rely on that. They're going to need better quarterback play moving forward, and I just don't see it for them this season. And again, I don't know. They're in a division that's there for the taking, potentially. There's, maybe the Texans are the only playoff team that I really see coming out of there. So they get a lot of their strength of schedule coming from like an easier division, but just based off of what we've seen from them and what we can expect, I don't see them winning more.
Yeah, I mean, on the positive side, they drafted really well. I think Tyler Warren is probably he might be this year's Brock Bowers,
Yeah,
in the sense of oh, this guy's really good. He's going to be good in the NFL, and then destroys expectations and is a potential rookie of the year candidate. That he could
100%.
have that, but who's throwing to him? Is it Jonathan Taylor? Because it's not going to be Daniel Jones. I don't think shifting to the Vikings as a backup and then to the Colts as a potential starter is going to change anything. He has not been the same since after his injury. He's one bad tackle away from reactivating that neck injury, I'm guessing. Not a doctor, but he has not looked the same. So it's really up to Richardson. And if he makes the leap, this is the kind of year that you make the leap, or it's kind of over for you, I
Yeah,
think.
you don't want to have, Richardson checking himself out of the game because he needs a breather.
He
And
needs
Daniel Jones
needs
going out there and
he
tripping
needs to
himself.
take
It's
a
not.
nap. He needs to take a quick nap. Yeah,
No
no,
smelling salts now. He's in trouble.
exactly.
They have to bring their own.
I just don't see 9 wins. I don't see it.
They would technically only need 8. They got.
Was it 7.5 or 8.5?
It's 7.5.
7.5. Sorry,
yeah.
I don't see 8 wins. Is what I meant.
I don't see 8. I don't see 7.
I don't see 6. It's tough. They really need to have one of these quarterbacks step up and stay consistent. I mean, they're coming from the Joe Flacco years Joe Flacco year, and slash Anthony Richardson, which was kind of a mess. And how is upgrading, quote unquote, going from Flacco as the possible QB to Daniel Jones as the possible QB the answer?
It's definitely not. It's definitely not upgrading. I think.
No.
I mean, it's obviously it's a make it or break it season for Richardson and whether or not they're going to trust that he could potentially be the franchise guy moving forward. So we'll see. I mean, I hope he stays healthy and he has every opportunity to do it. But if not, they're going to be looking for a quarterback again next year.
What is that line, by the way?
How's the line?
What's that line? What's the number on the line?
Oh, minus 110.
-110. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's I wouldn't say safe bet, but I would say I would take that bet just because I really don't trust this team.
Well, we are going to take that bet.
We
So.
are taking it. I'm telling the audience. I'm telling the audience.
Again,
Don't tail this bet.
don't tail this. Let's be clear.
Yeah, let's be clear. It's in the name of the podcast.
Yeah. So there is another team though that we also feel like is gonna fall short of expectations, and
What's our last pick?
Some people have them with some high expectations. So Al, fourth team here, who's fallen short of their over under?
I don't know, man. Everyone and their mom is saying that this team is going to be night and day in terms of last season. It's the Chicago Bears.
Not my mom.
Not your mom. Their line, I believe, is 8.5. Correct. Now, why does everyone think that this team is going to be so much better this year? We're going to see a step up for Caleb Williams. They got Ben Johnson now.
Yeah, Ben Johnson, I think, is the major shining light that they think.
Coming from one of the best teams of last season, the Detroit Lions. And of course they've made some. They drafted well. They made some good offseason pickups. Everything looks good on paper. Here's the things that don't. They're going from a 5-12 season last year. Caleb Williams, okay. I think he's fine. I don't think he's great. I think he holds onto the ball way too long and gets himself in trouble. We saw from that kind of viral clip from practice
training camp, getting mad at the net. He's about to go OBJ on that thing.
Yeah. Oh no, I was gonna say when they're actually doing the scrimmage and he's holding on the ball. I'm like, he hasn't learned at all in terms of that. But I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. I want to see what he does. This is year 3.
Well, this is the second year. You came out with Jay. Yeah, the first pick last year in the draft.
Exactly. And then I was gonna say before I give it to you, they have the third hardest schedule.
Yeah, I mean it's the division. I mean the division they're in alone would make a lot of teams fall short of expectations. But I mean you got the Lions, you've got the Vikings, you've got the Packers. I could potentially see all three of those teams competing for a playoff spot. The one that I can't see is Chicago. And I mean ultimately I think the whether or not you believe that Chicago can take a step forward is entirely contingent upon whether or not you believe in Caleb Williams and his development from year 1 to year 2. I didn't see enough from him to make me think that he is a viable, I guess. I mean, he's an NFL quarterback, but he didn't do enough to take control of games. Obviously, they lost a lot of close games. They were, blown out of a lot of games. He's not able to escape and do as much with his legs as some of the other mobile quarterbacks like a Jaden Daniels or Bo Nix that came out of last year's class. He's got to really be not just a pocket passer, but he does need to be a very accurate pocket passer. And they gave a lot to him as far as weapons, even last year. And he's still got those targets and those weapons to go through and throw to. And D'Andre Swift is a good running back as well. But they've got to, continue to try to build around him. But this is another guy that I think this is a season where a lot's going to be decided as far as do they believe that he can help them make that step and continue forward, or are they going to have to do sort of the Arizona Cardinals Josh Rosen thing and just what, we messed up. We're gonna try this first round pick thing again at quarterback.
We done goofed. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to add. It's really it would have to be a situation where Ben Johnson comes in, and this is what they're banking on, is he comes in and just completely changes the entire landscape of the team. And that starts at the bottom, right? That starts with the culture, and then it goes from there. You can put all these weapons together and everything like that, but it's gonna take time to build up the culture. Can he do that in a season? Dan Campbell didn't do that with the Lions in the first season.
No, I mean, it took several. You trusted kind of the man that he was and the leader that he was going to kind of go get there. But you have to get the players in. So it took shaking things up. Making a trade that people didn't necessarily think was the right decision at the time, and then drafting
being
Amon-Ra.
Best decision.
The best decision for them, for both sides really at the time. The Rams got their Super Bowl, and then the Lions ultimately get so many draft picks that have been successful. Amon-Ra obviously is great. They built the defense. They've done a lot of good things there. So yeah, I mean and that just doubles down on how difficult that division is. It's going to be fun to see like that matchup, twice this year, but I don't see the Bears having enough to really go through and compete there. So, yeah, I mean, we were looking at it. I've got them going 6-11. The line's 8.5. So that was the biggest, I guess, difference between all the teams that I looked at, trying to figure out what schedule is going to be, what the results of the schedule is going to be. And yeah, you mentioned it, strength of schedule. It's right behind the Giants. So we've got number 1 and number 2 are both in our parlay, one of which we're saying is going over, the other one we're saying is going under.
Not parlay, but yes, our picks.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Unfortunately, Vegas, a bunch of cowards. They won't let you parlay these types of things. So if anybody's got a book that will take a parlay off of these, please DM us.
For sure. So just a quick recap. Our picks for win totals for the 2025 season. We have the Giants going over 5.5 wins. We have the Bengals going over 9.5 wins. We have the Colts going under 7.5 wins. And we have the Bears going under 8.5 wins. How do you feel about these, Ben?
Oh, cautiously optimistic as always.
That's right.
I mean, it's great where you can go through and we picked 4 that we're most confident in, and as we're talking through them, we're like, I don't know, maybe not going to work out.
Talk ourselves out of it mid conversation. That does happen in our text. All right. Well, thank you for listening to the official first episode of Don't Tail This. You can follow along with these picks and more on our Instagram and our Twitter account. We refuse to call it X, so don't correct us in the comments. We'll never do it. It is Twitter. You can follow that at Don't Tail This on both of those accounts. You can tune in during the season every Wednesday and Saturday. We have a bunch of future episodes planned leading up to week 1. This is the first official episode. I believe next week we're going to talk some player milestones, and thankfully those can be parlayed. So we should have some fun ones for you going forward. Thank you so much for listening. Tell your friends about this podcast. Don't tell them to follow these bets, though. That's the whole point of the podcast.
Give them the disclaimer, as you mentioned.
Yeah, exactly. Give them the disclaimer. Thank you so much for listening. From Ben and myself. Have a great one, and remember,
don't tail this.